Good evening and welcome to MetroFocus. I'm Jenna Flanagan. There's an exodus happening right here in New York City. More people are packing up and leaving the 5 boroughs on a daily basis than any other city in the country. That's according to the latest census data crunched by Bloomberg. The news organization found New York is the nation's largest net loser, with 277 people moving away every day. For more on the numbers and what they could all mean for New York's future, let's bring in Bloomberg News reporter Sarah Ponczek. Sarah, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So, first of all, tell me a little bit about this exodus.
Right. So Bloomberg News looked at the 2018 U.S. Census data. So I should note that these are all numbers from last year. That is the latest data that we have.
Okay.
But if you look at the amount of people that are leaving and you subtract the people that are coming in to figure this out on a net basis, like you said, we are losing in New York City about 277 people a day. Now, if you were to extrapolate that out across a year, that adds up to about 100,000 in a year. So it is a pretty sizable amount. Now, just in 2017, that number was closer to 132 a day. So we are seeing a pickup in the pace. And this is also the second year in a row that we have actually seen the population decline in New York City. And what's also interesting is that if you look across the board, if you look across the boroughs, it's really happening across almost all of them. Every single major borough is losing residents, except for Staten Island, interestingly enough, which is seeing a gain, and Queens is seeing the largest loss.
All right. So then for any New Yorker who's going to be watching this, they're immediately going to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Subways are still crowded. I still can't find an affordable apartment. So what are you talking about? That
is exactly the issue. If you live in New York City, you walk around New York City, you ride the subways, take any transportation system, there are still plenty of people. We are working from a very large number. We are working from a very large population amount. And when you think about why people are leaving, I mean, it comes down to the reasons that anyone who lives in New York knows very, very well. It comes down to affordability, cost of living, standard of living. I mean, when you think about New York City, not only do you think of the allure of the city and high rises, you immediately think of extremely high home prices, high rents, high transportation prices, but also food as well. Even just when you go out in the morning, you're walking to work, you go pick up your daily coffee, it's pretty expensive. In fact, Zagat found that the average cost of a meal out in New York City is about $48. That's more than any other metropolitan area in the United States.
If 277 people are leaving what, let's face it, New York is considered the center of the universe, where else are they going? What happens when you leave the island?
Right. When you live in New York City, you think New York City is the only place in the world. You forget everything else going on around you. But what's very interesting, it's hard to draw a direct line of where people are leaving New York City, where those people are actually going to. But what we do know is the areas of the country that are actually seeing the largest influx of residents. And for the most part, it is really warm weather cities.
Really?
Yeah. So if you look at the top 10 cities, metropolitan areas that are seeing residents coming in, so net inflows of residents, Seattle is number 10. That's the only cold weather spot. The rest are places like Dallas and Austin in Texas, Tampa and Orlando in Florida. You can also add Phoenix, Nevada, Las Vegas in Nevada, but it's really warm weather areas.
Is this the slush puddles to blame? I mean, what is it about these other places that perhaps make them more alluring? And more importantly, are we talking just about Americans moving around the country, or are we also adding in international people moving into the country? So
these numbers do take into account international migrants. And it's a really good point, because if New York still didn't have a large amount of international migrants coming to the city from other countries as they do, these numbers would actually look a lot worse. New York is still the most attractive metropolitan area for international migrants. So you can't forget that. This doesn't take away from that at all.
So then the other question is, we talked about some of the economic reasons that could be causing this, but is there any particular, I don't know, elected official for whom we could lay this at their feet? Because we know, of course, New Yorkers love to hate a mayor.
Yes, people love to blame politicians, that is for sure. You can point to some policies that have increase prices in New York City. I mean, you think of one of the latest ones, and that is congestion pricing surcharges. So when you think about going around New York City, you get a taxi. It is much more expensive now than it used to be because of these surcharges. Now, yes, this is supposed to be used to raise money for the subway, but essentially it's a tax on people who both live in New York City and are coming to New York City. And this was really a large push by Governor Cuomo, but Mayor de Blasio did also really support these policies. Many people out there do also argue that de Blasio's push for affordable housing has actually ironically led to higher home prices and higher apartment rents. Yeah, it's pretty ironic, but the way it works is that when you are dealing with this, trying to create more affordable housing developments, well, you have to rezone. And that means when you're rezoning and you're rezoning for new developments, typically a lot of these new developments that are being created are nicer, they're newer, they're potentially high-rise buildings. So then these new buildings that are being built, not the affordable housing units, but the ones outside of them in rezoned areas, they're more expensive.
So if these numbers continue to trend up, if the 277 becomes 312 or something, what does that actually mean for New York City?
So it could be a stretch, but it's actually possible that if you continue to see this happening, maybe you have a sort of virtuous circle, there isn't as much demand, and maybe prices come down a bit. Now, that would take a very long time, but it's certainly possible, and I'm sure people would very much welcome that. But even beyond the city, this isn't just a city issue, if you want to call it an issue even. It really is a New York State issue as well, or a dilemma.
Yes.
So New York State, in fact, has lost more residents over the past decade than any other state in the country.
But then it's not necessarily standard of living, it's taxes that they tend to blame the rest of the state.
But what that comes down to actually is that New York, if we continue to see this, could actually see a loss in congressional representation. So right now, the way it stands, there's the possibility that after the 2020 census, New York could lose 2 seats in Congress.
Wow.
Right, which is actually a big change because right now you consider that New York is behind Texas, California when it comes to congressional representation. But right now the state has 27 seats. That's tied with Florida. So if we lose 2, you bring that 27 down to 25. Now New York will also be behind Florida.
So is there anything that the city can do to perhaps make itself more attractive? Although I'm sure there are people who are already bemoaning we don't need any more new people.
Right.
But to at least reverse this trend, to encourage people to at least stay.
Well, it does seem like right now the heart of the problem or the heart of the exodus is cost. So until something can be done to start reversing this rise in prices, bring costs down, then it's going to be difficult. Yes, you can look to employment, see if there's any ways that jobs could be added in New York City to attract more people. Also say within jobs, if you saw wages increase, that could attract more people to the city. But these are very difficult issues to tackle. They're certainly not ones that change overnight, but the heart of the matter certainly comes down to price.
All right, well, as always with data, the numbers don't lie, but it's interesting to hear the story that they tell. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.